Attention gamers. I recently released a video about an epidemic plaguing the Rift where Garen mid was the highest win rate champ across all ranks in solo queue, to which I tried it myself, as a hard-stuck Garen virgin who can't even push his stride breaker active, and I tasted the blissful experience of spinning and then subsequently winning. I did take to the forums to find out why this is randomly a thing now, but I was declined an answer because of the superb moderating of the league subreddit. I showed more clips of Demacia-ing everyone in sight, but this isn't enough for everyone who leaves comments as if I just dropped out of high school and they're my disappointed father.
Your laziness and lack of interest in understanding the game is discouraging.
This was made worse when I made the mistake of saying I saw Garen pick mid in a pro game and was immediately fact-checked.
Stop spreading misinformation. Garen hasn't been popular in pro play and only recently picked as—
A lot of people are saying her tits are fake. They're not fake. I touched them.
But regardless of my attempts to stomach this joyous community of know-it-alls and all-around pleasant people, the epidemic just got worse. As all the PhD in League of Legends incels will tell you, a new season split just began, and with it this freak is announced durability patch 2.0. Where offensive stats of most items got nerfed, beefers got beefier, and he himself is worried about this creating a tank meta. But Dr. Demacia over here benefits as he has armor pen that doesn't scale with any item, and an ult that does % missing health to counter the health buffs, damage that scales with level and not any other stat, which counters the nerf to damage items, and it does true damage to counter any buffs to defensives. So today we are back on the Rift to play the famous drinking game. How many times does Rav forget to use Stride Breaker, as I show just how much worse this Garen mid epidemic will become. So game 1 of the season begins, and this is just chock full of bullshit from last season as I'm rocking Garen mid. They have a Teemo jungler, the resident win shitter is present, and Riot season 14 bastard baby Tristana is making an appearance with Freak's latest changes, but the dumbest of them all is apparently me. You see, my strategy was to pick slap battles with the airhead, knowing that my passive would heal me back to full, but turns out you have to actually use your attacks in these battles, and I was not ready to handle the amount of pent-up sexual frustration this ponytailed samurai was wielding, paired with my first glance at the new lethal tempo rune, which seemed balanced after that encounter, but thankfully all Yasuo mains are magnetic to a tower shot here and there, so it worked out. But before I could even turn 3, there was a P. Diddy party going down by our red buff and everyone was already lubed up, so I figured hell, I'll slip in as I Darius ulted the wind shitter and then spun around on the Hells Angels painted refrigerator to get an early double. That said, tempo is about as foreign of a concept to me as hygiene is to Asmongold, so instead of basing and spending my inheritance check, I just got shoved in like a turd during anal until the brain dead airbender had to get frisky, so I let the Garen kid out of the cage to play and things were off to a perfect start. But you have to remember, this is League of Legends, so when I got back to lane and saw that I was alone, I issued an Amber Alert in the form of a missing ping and then 2 warning pings down by my Conrad South, and even though I'm convinced that's what let 2016 Tyler 1 escape with a piss puddle amount of health, he adamantly told me to stop pinging and then insinuated I was both overweight and Brazilian. And as someone who isn't either of those things, I took great offense to that statement, because that's what you do on the internet in 2024. So the next time the windshitter left my lane, I was quieter than a fart on a first date, and you know what happened? Karma was served cold to that ungrateful bastard, but this also resulted in many bad words that I can't show on YouTube being directed toward me and our entire team giving up a winning game before I could even ask why, and that, my friends, is what it's like to queue League of Legends alone. So I immediately did it again, and this time I was against one of those ELO inflated baton twirling hotties on the marching band, and the best part about laning against one of these is you just tell the boys there's a hot blonde in your lane, and even the AFK farming master Yi players drop everything to come see it themselves, which results in no flashes being spared and ultimately some alone time for me in lane early. Let's fast forward a bit, because the theme in these games was just to fuck around in each other's jungles early for absolutely no reason. As you can see, I get a bit carried away with an epic game of Shaco or Faco, and I'm so fickle about making a decision that I just kind of pace around aimlessly for hours on end while my friends around me are dying to my indecisiveness. But here's the thing, there comes a time in every man's life when he just has to guess what clown is authentic and summon a 9-foot Excalibur down from the sky to slay it, before doing a little celebratory spin from guessing correctly and then making like a fart and blowing this shithole. At one point the Harley Davidson with big hands wanted to grab the blonde by the pussy, and I was like, whoa whoa whoa, this isn't a 2016 Hillary Clinton campaign ad. But it's also at this point where those of you playing the take a shot when he doesn't use Stride Breaker game now owe me your first bottoms up. Anyways, the babe chucking light bombs at me all game starts acting like she might be interested in other people instead, so clearly I'm jealous and following her like someone trying to speedrun a restraining order. But it was here where I noticed if I Q without popping it and then I keep the movement speed and can stay in range while spinning, or maybe I just made that up and it's not a thing. But regardless of me comboing in the wrong order, we are playing fucking Garen and Master Yi, so it obviously doesn't matter. The plan was then to just vandalize a statue while I was down here, but the sped Jedi was like, hey, maybe we can force this pussy pirate into a Prozac prescription, and I'm thinking, bro, she's playing ADC, that shit is already on automatic refill at her local Walmart, but I'll help kill her anyway. At one point we catch the famous Win Twin bullying our team's mascot, and we don't take kindly to people disrespecting Team Robocop Mike Tyson in a wheelchair, so punishment had to be served. Anyways, I paid another visit to Prozac Patty because I wanted to remind her that she's still a level 8, and for those of you playing the Stride Breaker drinking game, stay thirsty my friends. I hung out bot again, knowing that Captain Jacqueline Sparrow would be back and just as underleveled as before with even less damage on her items than last split, so I could just spin and win until it was time to wave goodbye to tower range. At one point their support was more caught out than Cody Co with a crap ton of condoms at a high school party, so we all made the Nami say nani, and then guess who was back? So deprived of takedown dopamine that she was just begging for the firm handshake and willing to die again if it meant she could just taste the sweet smell of an unworth support kill. It was now 24 minutes in and I'm playing Garen, so that means I could turn my brain on power saver mode, make a fist with my hand and just slam it on my keyboard. Hashtag you all owe me a shot before you see me get nervous here. Tap my win fight button and piece the fuck out of that bad decision unharmed. And thus game 2 ended with me gesturing fellatio on myself in front of their fountain, because this channel is all about sportsmanship, but despite showcasing a bit of the bullshit, I feel like this game didn't fully display why the Garen epidemic is going to get worse, and thus the third and final game. This one was a bit of a doozy. As you can see, I was against yet another win shitter trying to abuse the re-emergence of lethal tempo, but luckily this time I was the recipient of the first gank. But even though Elise was here, her accuracy was still in jungle full clearing, so nothing came of it. That is until a piss and a jizz later, when there was a custody dispute over topside scuttle crab, when I decided to return the favor by introducing myself to the ruined simp as he who spins, and spin I did. I got my first kill, and then me and the winshitter walked hand in hand into the pending shit fest. I was like a Dr. Disrespect at a middle school cheerleading practice, not sure which one to DM first, but eventually I settled on Kwame for reasons unknown, but that seemed to be the popular choice, and I'm just a sheep, so we focused he who was beefier than a ribeye, and after a little bit of extended tag he went down, and then it was just the queefing greed bag running towards us to feed, and with that a 3-0 Garen was born. I decided with such a fat paycheck I could take some time off work manning the wave in mid to take a luxurious trip south to rub in how wealthy I was, but I ran into a sewer rat which spoiled the trip, so I ended up just pushing one fat button to ask where he thinks he is going. The attendance in the bot lane remained at record-breaking highs, and I was all for it because I knew if I could execute my complicated combo to perfection, I could have the kill and could just leisurely spin in circles while the sped windshitter dashes around deeper into danger, as one does, until my two-handed sword dunk somehow rewards Elise with the kill. Turns out I was having so much fun bot I didn't even realize the party had migrated up into my own hometown, as Riot's gay black token champ was like, hey look, I'm a tank in the current split, which means I can play like an idiot, and I was like, cool, have fun with it, I'm gonna go one-shot a winshitter again, and then if you are still free after that we can regroup and share stories about how much we love the durability patch. At one point I made the mistake of charging into a very hostile foursome, and let you tell me I spun out of there just as fast as I then battled with the dilemma of helping my team by going back in, knowing that having built no tank items thus far would make me vulnerable to absolutely nothing at this point, but I instead decided to just Amazon Prime the sword nuke straight into that yas hole I called it yay null, but then I got all jumbled up in whatever the fuck Kwame's kit does, but it didn't matter because of how tanky my BF sword was making me. Side note, he did end up surviving like another 20 seconds in the middle of my entire team, but it turns out he just needed to be silenced and spun on to be put back to sleep in base. And thus we are back to the clip that I showed in the intro, leaving you all on the edge of your seats about if I got the penta or not, so with that I would like you to sit back and enjoy how this clip actually ended. With karma officially being a bitch. Anyways, I lost track of how many Stridebreaker tequila shots you kids would be in, but check out my proactive use of it here to pop the rat and then subsequently kill him in like 2 seconds. I built hysterics, which now meant that the enemy fountain itself would have a hard time killing me, and even those Kwame kept trying to kidnap me to touch me all inappropriately, I informed him that I don't swing that way, and that if I'm being completely honest, my type is more like little rats who spray piss on people because they die so easily, and then I ulted the goth for looking at me funny. And so yeah, call it what you want, but I'm the noobiest of the noobs. Just read my comments. There's like 50 people calling me absolute trash at the game every hour, yet when I play Garen I am Giga Chad Slayer of the hard R button, and that's all the evidence I need to know that the Garen epidemic just got that much worse. Brush your teeth tonight, Rav out.